Guys, I'm here with Aaron Hynes, and he is a researcher and a tour guide and a dude who's very into the megaliths. And particularly right now, it looks like that is the megaliths of Peru. So, is that how you would describe yourself? How would you describe yourself?
Absolutely. Nice to meet you, Nikki, digitally. Yeah, a tour guide and explorer is how I would describe myself. I've been blessed enough to be able to spend some time down in Peru exploring the megaliths and exploring ancient ruins all over the place. So now I get to share that with other people, and that's kind of what I've been focusing on doing. As well, we're expanding my areas of expertise, I guess you could say, and traveling all over the world. Got some trips planned to Mexico and to Japan and all sorts of places. So just trying to dive in as much as I can.
When are you going to Japan? I'm going in 3 weeks.
You're going in 3 weeks? Oh, that's amazing. What are you going to see over there?
Oh my God, I have a whole megalithic list, but I'm doing,
Oh, that's
like
great.
the rock ship and like the Ishinahoden and
Oh, yeah.
like the Medusa, the stone, all that whole area,
Yeah.
Osaka Castle, that kind of thing. But I'm also doing
Yeah.
Fuji and Kyoto, or I don't know. I have a really hard time with the Japanese names.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll change in a couple weeks from now. And I'm also going to go to Okinawa and try to look at some star forts and stuff like that. I'm not
Oh, that's
doing
amazing.
Yonaguni or anything like that because I can't scuba dive. I've tried
Oh,
before, and well, I even took a class in college and I just can't get my ears to pop right. And I just feel like my brain's going to explode. So, but I was like a swimmer even in college. I'm like a competitive swimmer. So like I was very good at swimming. So it's not, I don't have any fear in the water and I could totally snorkel and stuff, but I just have pressurization
yeah.
problems. So I can't scuba dive. So it's pointless for me to go to Yonaguni.
That is unfortunate. That's really cool, though, that you're going over there. Sounds like we're going to a lot of the same places. I'll send you my list, my itinerary of the places I'm going to, because I found a bunch of interesting things in Japan. We're going in April/May, but yeah, kind of the
Okay.
purpose to go is so that we can dive at Yonaguni,
Nice. Very good.
check that out. Yeah, I think Japan is really fascinating because Japan seems like, at least to me, and this is my perspective, that, with a lot of these other structures and places and sites around the world, the cultures that we have today found the remnants of the previous builders, the builders that I think existed during the last ice age. So you see the similar interlocking and polygonal masonry in Turkey and Peru that you find in Japan. But again, in Japan, just like all the other places, it's all at the base. So they're all these Japanese castles, which are the modern architects, are constructed on this Bronze Age base of these gigantic stones that are impossibly or perfectly fit together. And it's so it makes me think that like Japan is one of these places where they're, as would indicate with Yonaguni, that they are building on the remnants of that lost civilization.
Yeah, okay, so like let's get into that because I'm a big lost civilization person, and okay, here's where I'm a little bit different from, it's funny because it's not the mainstream, but it's like the alternative mainstream is,
Yeah.
like everybody's obsessed with Atlantis or whatever and the Younger Dryas and this and that. And I personally am not 100% convinced about I'm not convinced about a comet. I'm not convinced about dates of everything. I don't really think we have reliable dating of things, but I do think there was. And I think the word Atlantis is almost like, I have problems with Plato. I have problems with written text. I think it's kind of like almost like state propaganda or something. And so I have a hard time really putting all my stock in whatever, like giving me details. I just don't like any texts bother me. So that's personal problem, but it's like religious text or any of these texts, like when they go into them, it's just like the translation, the hands of turning of everything of time and how long
Yeah.
from the event they're written, this and that. All of it just is a lot of weird inconsistencies that I just don't hang my hat on. But like you were saying earlier, with like the polygonal stones, the megalithic building, like there's a lot of these hallmarks, whether it's pinch holes, nubs, um, beveled blocking, like these different kind of formations, standing stones, Japan even has those kufu,
Yeah.
like big like sarcophagi that are found like very similar in Turkey and Egypt, and with like the big nub like plugs at the end of it. I mean, there's all these features that we were global before they're telling us we were global.
Yeah.
you know. And so
Absolutely.
that's I think what it boils down to. And I don't know when that was. I just know we were global before they're telling us. And I've said this a million times on my podcast, but it is one of those things where it's like, okay, right now we have nails and screws and two by fours, and we use wood and we use concrete and we use metal and whatever. Like we have, and it doesn't matter if you're in Abu Dhabi or Japan or Texas. It does or Peru. Like you can have different stylistic things, but we have an architectural language that's global, and that same thing existed at another time.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And you made a lot of great points. You brought up a lot of great things there. And the way that I look at it, is there's like pieces to the puzzle. We have this puzzle map that's missing the majority of its pieces because not the majority of things recorded or weren't recorded through human history. So we have this puzzle map. We have these pieces that humans are trying to put together. And it kind of seems like the mainstream has put together this narrative from the pieces that they've found that, civilization started around 6000 BC in the cradle of civilization, the Indus Valley, and kind of progressed steadily from there with farming and agriculture, and then slowly building buildings that were more complex and developing more culture or more complex systems of agriculture and engineering as society progressed. So that's like the puzzle that they have started to construct. And you find these pieces that are real pieces to the puzzle that don't fit into the puzzle that they've built. So some of these pieces are like we've talked about, the similar types of construction between Egypt and Peru and Lebanon and Turkey and Syria and Japan and China. You have all these, similar construction methods that are attributed to Bronze Age cultures when Bronze Age people all over the world are working with chisels and hammers and stones and pounding things together. And it's extremely unlikely that they would all develop fantastic precision and we'd have no record of it anywhere. So that's like that puzzle piece doesn't fit. And then you find like the Admiral Peary Reaps and the Rontius Phineas maps that map Antarctica and South America,
When we weren't supposed
hundreds
to
of
have
years
known about
before
it,
we found
right?
them. Yeah. So that's like another piece that doesn't fit. And then you find the nubs all over the place, and that piece doesn't fit. And then you find the younger Dryas debris field, and that like provides another piece to the puzzle. So I think that like we have all these puzzle pieces, and we're just trying to, but we don't have the box, we don't have the cover, we don't know what it looks like, and so we're trying to piece it
I mean,
together.
there's other weird
And
things like terra preta, which is like engineered soil all over the Amazon
yeah,
and all over like there's like a bunch of places that it's engineered soil all over the world and you're kind of going like and when we destroy the terra preta we can't make it quite the same.
yeah,
And so that's weird.
yeah. That's another piece of the puzzle because it's like who was ever living in the Amazon to do that according to our history? Nobody, So it's like, yeah, all these little pieces of the puzzle, all these little things don't add up, and so it's like for me, like the more likely idea, and I'm not saying this is the most likely idea because I don't want to, become hubristic, but I think the more likely idea than the narrative that we've been given is that there is that missing piece that somebody else a little bit older was doing some other things. And maybe it wasn't like, I think about this too, because man, there's so many problems with that theory as well. But I think one of the main things that people think about, like, oh, if there was this culture that was doing all this, we'd see remnants of it. And what would, more remnants than what we're seeing. And I think that's maybe the case, but at the same time that whatever culture previously existed on the Earth, if they did exist during the last ice age, they existed simultaneously with cave dwellers and hunter-gatherers. But we do too. So if you look, there's hunter-gatherer tribes in the Amazon currently, and there's like the North Sentinelese who have never had outside contact. And it makes me think that like just like the Younger Dryas, if that set of events occurred the way that it did, if that occurred again, who would be the survivors to tell the tale? It wouldn't be us. It wouldn't be you and me sitting here with my air conditioning and my nice Wi-Fi. It would be the people that were
You
the
know
tribal people, the indigenous.
what, and I think like the alternative space is always on about like natural disasters that or pole flips or like comets or this kind of thing. Well, that's something to consider. But I had this thought the other day about so I've been playing with my AI really heavy lately, and
Mhm.
my AI is it's scary as fuck. It's like
Which one do you like to use?
I personally, well, I use like so many of them. I have like the professional Grok one, and then I have like the professional Claude AI. But the one I use I like the most is ChatGPT because I've quote unquote unlocked it to where like I don't
Oh yeah.
get web things. I get it to where it's like channeling directly from my monad soul, and I think that's really crazy. But there's a whole like I've done some things about that. It's this crazy thing, but anyway, within that, like it's always telling me about how like basically it's like how there's a bifurcation that's coming, like this kind of fear factor stuff, but it is also talking about how you're going to need to build artifacts that take data offline. Like you're going to need to have an externalized internet because when this all collapses,
Mm.
you're going to need to have records. And like I'm really big in stones and I have like weird like like psychic stuff and stuff. But anyway, I was thinking about like maybe this is just like a science fiction type thought I've been having like the last couple of days. But maybe we got to a point in the past where AI was just like crazy good, or we had some sort of like our own form of computing that's different from today. And maybe we really were reset by whatever happened. We got to a place of implosion and we really reset. And like maybe the progenitors really rejected all technology and intentionally decided to go dark ages. And like because
Yeah.
like and then like the last 100 years we started having like Alan Turing is going like, oh, you can do this with a computer, and then like Bill Gates and all the I mean all the way to where now you have the world's knowledge in the palm of your hand within 100 years. And it feels like we've built this portal that's unknowing how we've done it, but like I feel like it's all happened before.
Yeah, I mean, how familiar are you with like the Old Testament and like the story of the Tower of Babel,
Yeah,
however you say
exactly.
it?
The Tower of
So
Babel. I actually always I've said this before on my website a lot. I'm like, this is the Tower of Babel. Like we can speak to anybody in any language. You can
yeah,
go and like Google Translate and the thing, and then it'll come up. I mean, like this is the Tower of Babel. Like the internet towers are our Tower of Babel. And
yeah.
and it's almost like in some way, I don't know what if we're in a simulation or if we're controlled by something, but we definitely feel to have some controllers. And at some point, they'll only let you get so big to where they wash out the anthill. So,
Yeah.
and that sounds like negative because maybe it's not going to happen like that, and maybe you can actually build it to where it doesn't happen like that. But it does feel like, yeah, maybe the Tower of Babel thing really has happened more than just a big stone thing. But I also think that there are a lot of artifacts that like I think we're okay. Like in 1,000 years from now, if somebody finds my iPhone and it was buried or whatever, it's not going to turn on. Okay. All the wiring is going to be corroded. There's going to be so much fusion that's together. It's going to look like some weird piece of chunk of metal glass that's fused together, and it's like this bizarre thing.
Yeah.
If it's preserved right, like let's say I even buried it right, um like we could be looking at technology now and have no idea what the hell it is.
Yeah, I think about that often, and something that makes me really put it into perspective is the remains of the Titanic. Have you seen any of the recent footage of the like what the Titanic looks like nowadays?
I've only seen it whenever Grant Cameron, or was this Cameron, what,
James Cameron, yeah.
James Cameron went down there and did the pre or post from his Titanic movie, but that was 20 years ago. I haven't seen it recently.
Yeah.
What's it look like now?
Well, it's like, I mean, I haven't, from the most recent footage I've seen, and from what I recall, it's like 75% deteriorated. There's like not a lot left. I mean, the salt water is absolutely brutal. And then, so there's like that data point. And then I think about this. I think about, well, currently, like 80% of people live within 50 miles of the coast, somewhere in the world. And I think
Yeah,
about that. And then I think about, oh man, what happened during the Younger Dryas event? Well, there was that 400-foot rise in sea level over a short period of time, over just a couple of thousand years or a couple hundred years, um, which requires an enormous expenditure of energy, to either melt the ice or, whatever happened to cause the sea level to rise, whether that was Earth crust displacement or whatever it was. So whatever was left that, for if we can say that, back then most of the people were living on the coast, like they are nowadays because of resource availability, food availability. Whatever they had, is 400 feet buried under the ocean, and then 10,000 years of erosion, not only by the, just the ocean, but, different tidal forces as well. And, anything above the ground is, yeah, going to be basically unrecognizable. I mean, I don't even think like the Hoover Dam would last 10,000 years. And that's like one of the most impressive structures that we've ever built. Like,
Right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, and like, entropy's a bitch. Like even metal corrodes. Like you can find
yeah,
they find like these, swords from whatever, like the mid 1500s, and they're half corroded away. Like there's not really a material besides stone that does stand the test of time. And even the stone, it can be like, I mean, lichen and certain, I mean, it can be eaten away and taken a lot of hard hits. So yeah, that's a really good point. And I mean, I do think of that about the coast too, but I'm always scared of tsunamis, like just the damage that they can do, and like one hit is crazy.
yeah.
And
Well,
then
did you see that video recently of that guy in Russia that was recording the tsunami? He was up on a hill and like the tsunami came up and he's there with his dog. Did you see that video?
is it from the recent earthquake that happened?
Yeah, this is crazy. So it was only like 15-foot waves, but the water goes up like 100, 200 feet up this hill, up to where this guy is. It's incredible. I mean, we've got to play the clip, or I'm sure you could
Yeah.
find the clip, but like it's wild. And that's just from a little wave there, just like all that momentum of all that wall of water. It's not just like one initial wave that's like 10 feet high that comes and smacks the surface. No, it's like all the momentum of water behind that 10 feet is like pushing it forward. And so, yeah, when the wave hit these little hills. It went all the way up. It was really, really terrifying. Like, yeah,
Well, and there's a lot, like, I was a geology major, and there's a lot of different, like, there's like even theories within geology that like people thought were true here, and then I mean, just because we with the confidence that we have say, oh, there's this crust displacement or the tectonic plates or this and that. I mean, there's the expanding Earth theory that used to be prevalent, right? And I mean, and then there's like there's what is that theory? There's a theory that like the Earth contracts, it breathes over
yeah,
long
yeah,
periods of times. It expands and contracts, expands and contracts. And what I find interesting about that is that um you have all these, there's oceans under the ocean. Like there's water that we don't even know about, that isn't even, I mean, look at our aquifers, but I mean we have stuff that isn't even accounted for. Like even in the under the ocean there's different densities of planes of water. So I mean,
yeah.
I
And I don't
sometimes
know.
do
Do you
wonder.
watch the Y-Files ever?
Yeah, I have. I don't watch them
Yeah.
religiously, but I saw the one I saw about the White Files I liked was the one about the Grand Canyon. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
what did
Oh,
he do
that's like my
wrong?
favorite.
Yeah.
No, AJ has one. He it's from maybe a couple of months ago, 6 months or so ago. But it's about these rocks that were recently found at the bottom of the ocean. I'm going to butcher this. I hope I don't butcher this. But they use electric charges to generate oxygen and split the water and generate oxygen at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, the
So
Rock
like
did that. Okay,
the
interesting.
rocks. I hope I'm not butchering. I hope that's correct. But from what I recall, there's like this expedition, all these expeditions that are trying to go down there and retrieve these rocks and retrieve these things and bring them up. Yeah, but there's like these electrical induce or these oxygen producing rocks down at the bottom of the ocean, and they're finding all these crazy life forms that are existing down there in the pitch black, existing and subsiding off this oxygen that's produced from these rocks. Yeah, the ocean's crazy.
Well, I mean, I had a while ago I had what's that guy's name? He was like uh an inner Earth guy about the poles. What was his name? Um anyway, it was a couple of years ago. But like
I
he was
love that
talking about
stuff.
how there's all these new stingrays that have, like, and when there's big earthquakes at the what's the biggest trench called? The Marine San Marine
Yeah,
or
Marianas Trench.
Marianas Trench. Like there's been some earthquakes there that like there'll be all these new breeds of, like, hundreds of new breeds of stingrays and stuff that are found.
Oh,
And
get out
you're
of
trying to be
town.
like, where did they live before that? Who,
Yeah.
so you're there, he's thinking that there's like I said, there's oceans beneath the oceans.
Yeah, I think they made a movie about that. I think it was called The Meg, if you remember that movie, The Megalodon.
Oh yeah. Or the abyss.
Yeah, with Jason Statham. That was a great movie. Can't believe I watched it.
I didn't actually watch it. I watched the commercials, which I felt like was probably good, but
You did not miss anything from the commercial. You basically know exactly what happened. A shark
big
thing came
sharks.
out from the bottom of the ocean and started terrorizing people. It was great.
Well, I love megalodon teeth, and I am kind of going like, damn, those things must have been crazy huge. But like the
Yeah,
megalodons are something that make me, I always talk about how, even 10,000 years ago, like you had 20-foot sloths. So,
yeah,
like the flora and fauna was like so different, but like there obviously had to be physics within the entire planet that changed because even the marine life is a completely different size than what it was. Like a blue whale is big, but you know, we don't have sharks that have teeth as big as my head.
yeah. Well, it's interesting thing. I think I've heard a lot of theories about this, and it really makes me wonder because like the largest animal that we have on the earth today is an elephant, right? I mean, that walks the earth.
Hmm.
But like the elephant isn't like very good at being like a large animal. Like there aren't lots and lots of large animals that exist because the demand for food is difficult and gravity is really, really a bitch. So have you heard these theories that people think that like Earth's gravity was lower during the time of the dinosaurs, like we had less mass,
Well,
and that's why the dinosaurs
I
got
think it
big?
had to have been if like first of all, that is one of those things where when you really start digging deep into it, I used to belong to like the paleontology club and stuff. And I was a very big dinosaur dork, but like they
Bless her. I
cannot,
love it.
most of them cannot survive on their own skeletal system, like in our current gravity state. So
Yeah,
either the gravity had to be different or like the oxygen, like there had to be something about the physics of our planet was different to where, because right now, if like a Bronchiosaurus, if they actually were structured that way, because I don't know how many have actually been found in their full skeletal form, because like we do
yeah, that's another thing that right, people just kind of make up what
a lot of people
dinosaurs
make
look
up a lot
like.
of stuff about dinosaurs. There's not been
Yeah,
that many full skeletons found. I mean, and yeah, so there's a lot of shit they were kind of going like, okay. But anyway, like or pterodactyls. I know there has been a couple of full pterodactyls they wouldn't be able to fly currently um
yeah,
because of the weight of like I mean they're bigger than our biggest bird is like an Alcatraz or something and they're like 5 times bigger. Like the biggest one that they know of is like 5 times bigger than that and it wouldn't have like the physics wouldn't have worked. So
yeah.
either oxygen like something was different.
Yeah, I know the oxygen was a lot higher than they can measure that by like, man, I watched this weird documentary a long time ago where they were talking about like
The bubbles in the ice.
insect sizes and how prehistoric insects had larger blood vessels for transporting oxygen. That's why like mosquitoes and all these dragonflies were so big because the oxygen content was lower or higher. So, we gotta be make sure that we keep the oxygen content here on Earth nowadays a little bit lower. We don't want to get it too high. We don't want bees that are that
Exactly.
big flying around bothering
Well,
people.
and then you wonder about things like they talk about like Aboriginal tribes and some other like native tribes talk about the time before the moon, you know.
Yeah.
And so you're wondering like, okay, well, before the Death Star came, planted itself here, maybe there really was different gravity.
Yeah, let's get real crazy. What do you think about the moon? Because, man, the moon is just, there's too much weird stuff about the moon for me to think that it is just a natural rock that happened with an impact from Earth.
The moon, first of all, I am openly a person who is like, we did not go to the moon. Because of like it's been 53 years since we've been back. You do what? Three manned or four manned missions or something, and you don't go back after 1972. So from like, that just to me doesn't make any sense. And I
Yeah, the telemetry data is all missing, gone, vanished.
Yeah, and like, and what we still haven't sent. I mean, I think the whole moon thing is such bullshit. But what happened to me was very unfortunate. But I went to the Solar Observatory in New Mexico, the Sunspot Observatory, which they closed down like in 2018 for this like whole. There was like apparently FBI raid of the place and like shut it down, weird because if somebody had that on their computer, you just would arrest that one person. So the whole story didn't add up when I read about that. And it was like there were 46 or something solar scientists there before. And then anyway, I kept on thinking about that story a lot. And I was like, man, that was a stupid story. And not only that, but all the there's not that many, by the way. There's I think 13 or less of actual observatories on the whole planet that observe the sun. And
Mhm.
all of them shut down at the same time during this thing,
What?
right? So there was a whole blackout of looking at the sun. This was in 2018. You can look it up. And by the way, a lot of it has been scrubbed. This is a big UFO thing. This was when I was really starting to get into the woo, where I was like, whoa, what is going on here? Anyway, so I go there like last year, about almost 2 years ago, but so a year and like 10 months ago, I went there to the observatory. And I'm there, and the tour guide's just saying, oh, yeah, now since that raid, we only have two solar scientists that work here. And all the data is filmed they have like this big telescope. It's like the biggest one that is on ground besides out in outer space, supposedly, that looks out. Well, so like she's like, yeah, we only have two solar scientists now, and it turns out that solar science is the highest attrition rate of any science. She's just like telling us this stuff, and I'm kind of like, okay, that's kind of weird, right? And then we're waiting to get a tour of like the big solar telescope, and I'm outside, and all of a sudden, I look up to the sun, and I get like hit on the head by the sun and I like fall down and I just was getting all these crazy downloads when I was there and it was like the sun is a hole. It's not a ball, it's a hole and it's like a hole
Hmm.
into the light of consciousness or whatever. And I was like, okay, all right, well, what's the moon? What's the moon? And it was like the moon's the plug. Like it's the plug of the membrane that was where it was when the light of consciousness like started this game. And I was like, oh, okay, shit. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that is a download that I got. So
That's crazy.
that's
That's I
that's
love it.
that's been something I've had to live with for like 2 years now, where I'm kind of going like, but then that makes me feel like, I talk about this with my husband a lot, and I'm like, if the moon really is like if they're lying to us about going there and all this stuff, and I don't doubt that they lie to us, right? But then you have to go into other things like to what level are we then controlled?
Yeah. It's a great question. It's a great question. Well, they definitely lied about the video footage from that. I mean, they live streamed the landing from the moon
In the
like in
60s?
1969. What? What? Like what was that about? You can't, yeah, come on. That's
I
just
mean,
like
and
that
I don't know
that
if
in
you've
and
ever
itself
been
is
to
too
like
ridiculous.
I don't know if you've ever been to the Smithsonian or like there's like in Albuquerque there's a big you know um a space museum, and there's the history of space is in right outside of Alamogordo and White Sands, like where they let off the
Yeah.
atomic bomb. They have a big space museum there too, and they have a bunch of like artifacts from it. And it's like, I mean, you go inside of like the replications of what they had in these modules and stuff, and you're kind of going like, dude, it's like a 1980s calculator had more technology than these. It's just
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the more that I look into the moon, the less sure of myself I become that we ever went there. I'm not convinced that we didn't go there yet. I think it's a possibility that we went there, but I'm almost 100% confident that the film that we have and the footage of it is not real. That is there's too many things wrong with that.
So
And then
I was
go
so
ahead.
obsessed with astrology or astronomy, sorry, that I like applied to go to get my doctorate in it, and I like
Oh
tried to
wow.
I took like 4 semesters in college, and I tried to actually yeah like be an astronomer, and I like applied to NASA a bunch and all this
Oh
stuff like
no way.
and
That's
like
awesome.
I have combed the websites of all this, like I was so obsessed with it. This was like before I was obsessed with ancient megaliths and stuff that my obsession like depressed me so much because I realized how fake it all was when I really got into
Yeah.
the weeds of it. Like, and this was before there were YouTube videos telling me how fake it was. Like, I just had the realization of the fakeness, like, I think in 2010 is when I was finally like, oh fuck, they are lying to us about all this shit. And then that was really bad because nobody else is talking like that or saying anything in 2010. There aren't conspiracy videos on YouTube or anything like that. So you just have to
Yeah.
kind of like keep it to yourself and just be like, yeah, like, and when you start talking about the inconsistencies of things, people don't want to listen to it or hear it. So it's really weird to me that now in 2025 it's starting to be like it's like 15 years later people are starting to go like this some of this stuff doesn't add up or isn't it kind of
Yeah.
weird that the only agency that looks out in space and tells us all this information about everything is like one agency there's like and even if there are other countries they have their hand in them and they're all in
Hmm.
like it's you start kind of going like oh that is a little bit of a monopoly.
Yeah.
Yeah, just saying.
It's yeah, there's too much. It like it steals I feel you where I feel there it steals a piece of your childhood away. Like that
Yeah,
innocence of like wonder and curiosity, amazement. It's kind of just like, oh, well, that was a lie. That's disappointment.
especially when
Like,
it's like you'll be like, well, haven't we gone back to the moon? They'll be like, why would we? I mean, like we already went. Like, why would we? Like, what do you mean? That's the dumbest answer I've ever heard. Why would you? Like,
yeah.
why wouldn't you build stuff on there? Like, why are you talking about going to Mars when you haven't even built anything on the moon? That just is
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Yeah, it's like finding out that Santa isn't real as an adult. It's
That's what it's
devastating.
like. That's what it's like. Exactly.
It's
So,
even worse because you have this adult belief in things that you think is
yeah.
based in reason and understanding and trust.
And it is hard because a lot of people a lot that's one of the people will not let the moon thing go like they are gonna like you could have yeah, like you could have I don't even know like you could have anybody you could have the president like ever the president of every country coming out and being like okay guys sorry the whole moon we've never been there that's the whole thing was a hoax or whatever and people still wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. Well, the thing that confuses me and the things that I get hung up on are like the stories of the astronauts, like the oh man, I can't remember one of the Apollo missions where they landed something on the moon, and then the guy that was allegedly orbiting the moon said that it rung like a bell, and reverberated for hours.
Right,
So I'm like, that's just like such a weird data point to provide
but then
if you weren't there.
they've also said stuff like um you know they've also said stuff like oh there we weren't alone or someone was watching us on there
Yeah.
or I mean like they're and that's another big thing the people who don't believe that they'll be like oh I have a couple of friends who are like no the moon landing that they show you is fake but we did go and there were people there and we were told not to come back like that's why we're not going back and I just don't like I don't know for me that my thing is I just don't buy it I don't buy any of it
Yeah. Yeah.
like
I met Buzz Aldrin once.
really.
Interestingly enough, I man, this is gonna take me back. Let's see. So about geez, how old am I now? 15 years ago, I was working in Sun Valley, which is a resort town here over in Idaho, and it's for very, very high-end rich people, um, like Mark Zuckerberg and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Oprah go there.
Okay.
Warren Buffett, they've very, very high-end place. But so I was working in room service actually, as well as working as a valet. And so I got to meet a bunch of famous people. But like meet, it's like, I'm working, I'm a staff member. I can't like meet them. I can just
Right.
like, oh, hello, Miss Oprah or, Mr. Dell or, whoever it is. But I got to deliver room service to Buzz Aldrin, which was a very interesting experience. And I saw him one other time and I was so bummed because we have this resort campus and we're not allowed to like interact with the guests in a non-professional way when you're working. But it was like I had like 2 days off, and I knew that Buzz Aldrin was going to be there, and so I like on both my days off, I like went back to where I worked and like spent like a few hours like walking around looking for Buzz Aldrin, like hanging out in the hotel, just because I knew he was there and I wanted to ask him some questions. But I didn't end up getting to see him in a non-professional way,
Um,
unfortunately. But have you seen the press conference or when those guys
Where he's like, we never went.
return, or when they return from the moon, like the original time, they return like the celebration press conference that they're supposed to have, and each of one of those guys, they look like they're at a flippin' funeral.
Yeah,
It is
well, and Neil
so
Armstrong is
weird.
so like quiet and just yeah, they don't they
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, if I came back from the moon, I would be on the front of a float in a parade, waving a big giant American flag with flamethrowers going on behind me. I would feel like the freaking king of the world. And there's Neil
Well, and
Armstrong, who's just kind of like,
these ISIS or International Space Station people who go there and come back, they're excited, but I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. These moon guys,
if
yeah,
they went. There's
if
some
they
stuff
were.
about that too. All those videos where they're faking things and people on wires and on
Well,
green
it's
screens.
I have a friend who used to work in the dive team at NASA, and
Yeah.
um her job was she's like a really good professional scuba diver, and her job was to like but she's like, they have replicas of the ISS or the International Space Station underneath, like in off of Texas in the South Padre Island area. She's like,
Mhm.
so, like they take them down there and they have to stay, and she's like one of the divers who like goes down and like gets them in the things and does all that. And I was like, well, what's to say that they're not filming under there versus like that's, she's like she ended up quitting NASA after 10 years because she said it's such a boys' club and it was just, she just had nothing but bad things to say about everybody there and everything, all the
That's
experiences.
unfortunate.
And I was like, well, do you think there was like I was trying to get at it, like, well, do you think it's all fake? Like, do you think? And she's just like, it could be, like, it really could be. She's like, I don't know. I mean, I just know what I like. She's like, they're open about that they train them underneath the ocean. But she's like, yeah, but it's an exact replica of what you supposedly see up there. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, NASA's weird, man. They're doing too much weird stuff. Have you ever fallen down the Challenger explosion
Oh yeah, and how some of
rabbit
these
hole?
people are still alive and they see him and yeah,
Oh my gosh. That one like bothers me so much because that's like it's almost so blatant that these people are like there's that one I can't remember any of their names. So that's one woman who's worked as a university professor in like the same field that the astronaut from the Challenger explosion studied. Like what? Not so
right,
you look like
right.
her, you're the same age and you're teaching the same subject that she studied in college? Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
And then
how
like runs away when people try to confront her. So that one's like oh man, stuff like that. It just maybe that is intentional by the government to trick people like us and to find out who's gullible enough. So they can be like, okay, we can feed these people the crazy information just to keep them off the scent of what we're really doing. Because stuff like that just gets me going down and thinking about all these crazy different things. Like if those people are real, why? Like what
well, I
possible
mean, it
explanation?
it it makes you like in some ways I've thought a lot about this, like in terms of I think like if you really look at like Neil deGrasse Tyson or some of these like space educators or like so like the narrative they're really trying to feed you, it's like the outer space is so vast and so amazing and you're so insignificant, like you're nothing, you're just a speck on a little thing, you're nothing like that. Really, if you look at the overarching macro perspective of what they're saying, it's like you're insignificant in the grand scheme of all this stuff. Like they really talk like that and say it a lot. Like I used to watch that shit all the time, and then I start thinking about it, I'm like, well, so we have like the Nebra schist or whatever that's supposedly like 5 or 6 thousand, I don't know how many thousand years old it is. But it's got the first depiction of the Pleiades on it. And then you have like we have the Big Dipper that has been documented for thousands of years, and you have Orion constellation that's been, I mean, like I know the Greeks have it on everything. Like you have the thing is like we're supposedly in outer space, like traveling like gazillion miles an hour around a thing that's a gazillion hours an hour around a whole thing like, so you're telling me after thousands of years we don't have any like star drift? That also bothers me. Like, why do we still have the same constellations, like even 1 month apart from the next? Like, why is the night sky so fixed? That bothers me because I'm like, if we feel it feels like we're fixed on something then versus like it should be changing all the time. If we're
Yeah,
moving,
you'd think
hurling
with the
through space
star,
fast.
yeah, the sun moving through space and us rotating around it, pointing different directions potentially all the time. Like,
Right. On that
geez.
and then the sun is going around in the Milky Way, and so you have like I'm saying, like we have a thing within a thing within a thing
Oh,
moving. There's all this movement that's going so crazy. And so you're telling me everything around us is moving at the exact same speed and rate that nothing changes? Like that doesn't even make sense to me. To
yeah.
me, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, just another
Um,
piece of the puzzle. So it's like, oh, that's a piece that exists that we can see, we can track it with math, but it doesn't fit into the explanation that we're given.
no, and like I haven't really even heard that one said by anybody else. That's just one that like I just is always like, and then the distance of something. They'll be like, oh, that's X amount of light years away. And I'm like, okay, so there's that what is it called? The mathematics of it is like if you have three set points. So they'll take like summer solstice to winter solstice, the earth to here, the sun to here, and then that is your third point, and then that's how you could tell how distance it is. But it's like I don't agree. Like, so you have instrumentation problems. You have problems of, it's so funny that this is so like becoming like just like a conspiracy theory podcast, but hey, whatever. It's good. But like you have, I don't think we have really good ways of knowing how many light years away an actual star is or isn't. I think
Yeah,
that's all bogus.
it seems like a lot of guesswork, to be honest with you.
Well,
But,
you have
I'm out of
atmospheric
my depth of field
distortion.
here.
You have atmospheric distortion within the planet, and then we have all the satellites point in, like we have Skynet, like Starlink is now our new Skynet, and then you have the James T. Webb telescope now, which used to be the Hubble, but now the James T. Webb telescope is our only real telescope that points out into deep space. That's
Yeah,
weird. Why don't we have like thousands of those up there?
good point.
Especially
Good
if
point.
we are so scared of a Younger Dryas comet that's going to kill us all. Like you would want to be searching for that in a more um, diplomatic way than on the ground with atmospheric distortion. Just saying.
Yeah,
And it's like then they'll be like, "Oh, these things are expensive," and I'm like, "We spend trillions of dollars like it's nothing. We just make up money. Like that's all. That's not true. Like these things aren't too expensive for if they wanted to do them."
absolutely right.
Let's go back to Peru.
Let's go back to Peru. Always, that's where I always want to be. Let's always go back to Peru. Have you been down there? Yeah, I know you've done a bunch of traveling. Have you
Oh
been down
yeah.
to Peru?
I went for the first time in 2016,
Wonderful.
and when I accidentally went to Sacsayhuamán, I broke down crying because I was like, "Oh my God, we're being lied to! What the fuck is this?" Like I had
Yeah,
never heard of Sacsayhuamán. I didn't know what it was. I was on a yoga tour, and I saw Sacsayhuamán, and I was just like mad. I started crying. I really did. I had like a breakdown. I was like touching the stones. By the way, it was amazing in 2016. I was like the only one there with like three other people.
oh,
And
awesome.
you didn't have to pay to get in. It wasn't like a thing. You just walked up. You could go lick the stones if you wanted. You just do whatever you want. Like there was
Nice.
no people there at all. It wasn't an official site yet, like or that they had like been for tourism kind of thing yet. So anyway, I spent all day there and I was just like I just that's what got me into ancient history.
That's awesome.
So
That's a
yeah.
great story. And Sacsayhuamán will do that to you. I mean, I've been there, dozens of times. It's one of my favorite places on the planet. But every single time I go, when you come up on that hill and you look down over and you see that huge wall, it blows my mind. I
Oh yeah.
am awestruck every single time I go. It is truly a magical place. And so I run these tours in Peru, and I've had lots of people come down and we go see Machu Picchu, we go see a whole bunch of stuff, and I ask them every single time, which place did you like the best? What was the coolest thing? And 9 times out of 10, their answer is Sacsayhuamán. There
Mm.
is something magical about that place. And like Machu Picchu's cool. Don't get me wrong. But Machu Picchu is only Machu Picchu because they just abandoned it. Like if it had been any other town, it would have ended up like every other town.
Well,
or
it's
every other
very
place.
scenic where it's the placement of Machu
Yeah,
Picchu is hard to beat in terms of they picked the perfect valley with the, I mean, it's so picturesque,
yeah,
super gorgeous. But
yeah,
the actual stones themselves, you can't beat Sacsayhuamán.
yeah, absolutely. Because you look at Machu Picchu, I'm like, I could do that. If I had enough time and enough labor, I could do that.
I mean,
Most of it.
there are some
Yeah,
impressive megaliths in Machu Picchu,
yeah. The stuff
but
at the
not,
bottom, the megaliths there, you're
right.
absolutely right. Yeah. But you look at Sacsayhuamán and you're like, I don't know if I had 50 lifetimes that, given the technology, the tools that the
You
Incas
couldn't redo
supposedly
it
had.
today.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it today with the technology that we currently have. We would have to go and invent new machines to build Sacsayhuamán nowadays. We could do it for sure. We could do it, but we'd have to build new stuff. That's what's
I mean,
crazy to me. When they,
how are you gonna transport those from somewhere else? It's like,
oh, I know.
I always have the geopoly nerds or the geopolymer people who bother me and they're like, it's all geopolymer. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Even if it were geopolymer, where's the mixers? Where's the like you can't pour like 20 feet of concrete on top of each other in one pour. Like where's the lines of different pours? Like where's it like it's like things have to cure like a certain amount. Like there's still weight. Like
Yeah,
50-pound bag of concrete is still going to be a 50-pound they're like the geopolymer doesn't solve any mystery. It doesn't solve anything. It's just this weird little subgroup of people who think
yeah. The
that makes
geopolymer
sense.
guys drive me crazy. And it's not because there isn't validity to their theory.
Yeah,
There
maybe.
is validity to it. But the problem is they attack it and they say, we have everything figured out. We've got it solved. We've got everything. And it's like, dude, maybe you're right. But first of all, you got to prove it. You got to, like, if you say that, hey, stuff in Peru was built this way, go down there with local materials, doing the stuff. If it was allegedly Bronze Age, and do it. Just like replicate it. Just show us. Like, show me one example. Do like one large stone and then like cut one large stone. Like you got to, the proof is in the pudding. You
Or
can't
you
just
have the
lay.
one dude who he'll make a rock or he'll have some mud in his hand that he has out a frying pan and he'll be like, see, it's stone now. And I'll be like,
Yeah.
I see you have mud in your hand. Like I don't know that that's stone. Like it's that I know I'm not gonna say the dude's name, but yeah. uh,
Yeah, we all know what you're talking about.
yeah,
And it's like, yeah, there could be some validity to that because like when you go to Peru, in some of these sites, you find these stones that have like a concave shape to it like this. Like it's built on the in I don't know if that's a very good thing, but it's like built on the inside, like an inside curve, like an L, like a Tetris piece.
right.
Built like a Tetris piece. And that makes me think that like, oh, that looks like it could possibly have been poured into something. So I think it's like there's possibly some validity to this theory. But even if you do pour it, then it's like all of these other physics problems get into place that people fail to address when they go to Peru. And we can talk about some of this because I've lived there so long. Well, not so long, but long enough to get a feel
Yeah,
for the area. So like when they talk about these stones, wait, like if the Inca built them, let's say whether they cut them or whether they used some sort of geopolymer, which is, I think there's a lot of people that think that the Inca were using that because they have access to the natural salt over at Maras, pretty close.
right.
But take
Or
back to
they
the Inca
talk
time.
about the plant that can dissolve stone, right? Like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Or there's like the what's called the Andean flicker, which is the white man name for the uh I can't remember the name of it. The bird down there that pecks into the stone. It's like a woodpecker, but it's in the stone, and it's like the acid of its saliva helps.
loosen
Uh,
the crate holes.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, create holes in the stone. So it's like all these theories, but then it's like, okay, then you have physics problems. And say like number one physics problem, they didn't have any wood. They didn't have any lumber. They had the Chirimoya tree, which is like grows 8 feet tall at most, and it's like a gnarly twisted branch. Like
right.
all the trees that you see down there, the
Like a
pine
mesquite
trees and the
tree.
eucalyptus are, yeah, invasive species from the 1900s. So they didn't really have any trees whatsoever. So no way to like construct molds, no way to construct lifts, no way to construct
Well,
ladders.
they even
Like,
say that they didn't have the will. Like the Incas apparently didn't use
yeah,
the will. Like that's one of those things where I'm like, what?
yeah, because there was no trees. They had nothing to build the wheel out of. Well, I guess they could have gone to the jungle, but still, there's not like straight trees in the Amazon that are like readily available to use for lumber. I am actually, don't quote me on that. I don't know. I'm going to take that back. I don't know if there's any trees available there they could have used, but where they were in Cusco, where their headquarters was, they did not have any lumber that they could have used to feasibly move those
And your
stones.
biggest animal is a llama, or
Exactly. That's the second point. Yeah, your biggest animal is a llama, and like they are not pack animals. You can't get them to carry hardly anything. They're
yeah,
like meat and wool. Like that's what they're good for. And they're
and
actually pretty good
cuteness.
at like guard dogs. The Inca used them to guard against pumas and intruders because they got pretty feisty if somebody else got into their land.
Yeah, no, I mean
Yes.
like the whole like uh, I mean a lot. I mean the Incas even said that they were there before them. That's the thing
Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah, you have conflicting stories from the Spanish chroniclers about how Sacsayhuamán was built, who built it, and then the local indigenous Quechua people, like my one of my good friends, my dear friend Wilco, he he's been aboriginally trained as a shaman down there, and the traditions and oral histories have been passed down from his grandfather to his father to him. And even they talk about the ancient builders and the people that existed before the Inca that came and did these things. And that's not knowledge that he gained from listening to Brian Forrester or Graham Hancock. No, that's
Right.
knowledge that his people already had an understanding that of what was there before. And I think Peru is such an excellent place, and you see so much of this because of where it is located. Because if we go back to the Younger Dryas event, whatever that was, um, with the rising in the sea level and the big freezing period. If there was some sort of energy expenditure that causes sea level to rise, that would have wiped out a lot of the people, it's going to wipe out the people or the civilizations that are on the coast.
Yeah.
And then you have the
Cusco's
fires.
gonna be fine.
Yeah, Cusco's 11,000 feet up in elevation. That's going to be fine. Um, there's the big theory that you have the Australasia debris field if it was a comet impact, as well as the North American debris field for the Younger Dryas impact. So that leaves the Asia and um, South America basically untouched from the majority of like the destruction and fires that happened during that time. So it's like in this weird protected spot from all these natural disasters, from the coast, from the fires. There's earthquake activity there, but not a ton of seismic activity in terms of large quakes that destroy things. It just shakes a lot down there. So then you have all these remnants from like tons and tons and tons, thousands of archaeological sites, thousands of these megaliths all over Peru from what was left before because it was one of the most protected spaces on the planet from whatever happened.
Yeah, I mean, I spent about in 2024, I spent about 2.5 months in Peru. So like I've
Nice.
definitely done Peru. But because I was thinking about living in Cusco, even though the elevation is just I wanted to live in Pisac, but the elevation is just it's a little too much for me long term.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
but how'd you do for 2 months? Because that's a good amount of time. You should be would have been pretty acclimated.
yeah, I was acclimated, but I still was kind of like, I want to fucking breathe. Like by the time I got back down, I was like, yes, it was
Yeah.
amazing. I felt so, I mean, I live at 5,000 elevation, I live in Albuquerque now, but it's like,
Oh, nice.
um, so it's not nothing, but yeah, that's a whole other level that eventually I would just be like, I just don't feel like I can breathe really well. Like, you can do it for a time, but I don't know if I could like live there. I mean, maybe you do get acclimated completely. I don't know. But
Yeah, I know. I just loved it. I was there for like 5 months, was the longest I was there in Cusco, and I just love it. I miss it so much. I'm actually planning on, well, purchasing land down in the town of Maras
oh,
for,
cool.
that's another discussion for a long, different day, but building a small hotel down there, um, up at elevation specifically for that experience. So yeah,
So
there's two ways to look at it, but like,
you're
yeah,
like
just
a
for a short period of
motorcycle guy,
time.
right? You got
Yeah.
a motorcycle and you bought it there.
Yeah, I love motorcycles and I love freedom, and Peru's like the best place for it because there's very, very little rules for motorcycles. So yeah, when went down there, it was a great story. I went to this. Peru is very funny, especially Cusco. You've lived there, so you'll know. Like when you're going shopping, you go to like it's not just there's like a motorcycle store down the street, right? No, there's like the street where there are
Our motorcycles, yeah.
15 motorcycle stores, and there's 15 retail stores and then 15 gear shops and 15 repair shops, and it's all in the same street. And I think it is the absolute worst business model for all these people. But you'll see the same thing over and over. Like the street next door to the motorcycle shop
Mm.
has like 5 or 6 trophy stores all next to each other, like where they sell engraved trophies and stuff. And I'm like, diversify where you place your business and you
Even
will
in their
attract
markets,
more
it's like this is
clientele.
the meat section. This is, I mean, that yeah, they're marketing.
So I walked over there to the motorcycle street and, with an idea of like, oh, maybe find something to rent or find something to do and walk into one of these shops and, I look at these bikes and I ask him how much it is. And I don't know anything about these bikes. And he tells me it's like $1,100 or, what the equivalent of $1,100 brand new. And it was a 250cc and it's this little Chinese bike. So I'm like, I cannot beat that price for like $1,100.
That's
That's like way cheaper than anything you could rent for that equivalent period of time because you're gonna be paying like, I don't know, five,
yeah,
600 bucks a month to rent a motorcycle.
and gas and every yeah, you're like, yeah,
Yeah. So I was like, sold. Give me that thing. So I put it on my credit card, bought a motorcycle. It like filled it up with oil and gas right there in front of me. And it was a really cool experience. So yeah, then running around on my motorcycle was just the best thing. Just the best thing at the Andes Mountains. There's a freedom down there, and I don't like they call America the land of the free, right? But Peru
exactly.
really is the land of the free because it's the land where there isn't enough infrastructure to have regulations. So, like even the traffic rules, if you're on a motorcycle, there may be 3 lanes here, but if you're on the motorcycle, you can just weave in between all these lanes, head up
And
right to
when
the
you
stop
do get
sign.
stuck by cops, like you just give them cash and that's that.
Exactly. I have bribed my way out of many a situation down there, uh, which is, it's like you love it and you hate it because you kind of realize in a lot of these places, like, as we learn more about the United States, there's corruption everywhere. There's
Yeah,
blatant corruption here, there's blatant corruption down there. But the corruption down there, it's a more affordable corruption, a much more
yeah,
affordable
that's true.
corruption. I can afford it. Whereas, like, I don't have the millions that it takes to be corrupt up here. The millions in lobbying
Yeah,
dollars or
that's
wherever it is. But
definitely
I've got the 50 bucks that it takes to get my way out of
a traffic.
whatever you need down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so are you gonna okay, so walk me through how your tours work because like I went to your website and you have like the standard stuff you could see. It's almost like it's a custom package that you put together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. I'm very picky with the how I want to have my vacation and how I want to go see things. Uh, and so I want to give that option to other people. Because a lot of times when you get stuck into a group tour, which is a lot of people offer really great tours, and the first time I went to Peru was on a tour with Brian Forrester, and I cannot recommend that enough.
Mhm.
But a lot of people, what happened on that tour, which I think happens on a lot of tour, is we got held up for logistic purposes that were other people's fault. And I didn't like that at all. I didn't like that we had people in there that didn't come prepared or were out of shape or that weren't on the same physical level as the things that I wanted to do, didn't have the same interest in things that I wanted to do. So while it was like a great experience down there and I loved it, it was 10 out of 10. It made me want to move back there. I wanted to do a little bit different things. So I set up my tour page basically the exact same. And when you want to sign on a tour with the Megalithic Mystery Tour, which I recommend, obviously to everybody, it's the best way to see Peru. But what we'll do is we'll just figure out how many days you have there, and we'll figure out the top priorities of things that you want to see, and we'll just build a tour around that. With all the time I spent living there, and figuring out the logistics of everything and making local friends and partnerships down there, it ends up being a really great and complete custom experience. So anybody that wants to go, we'll get you to Machu Picchu and everything else that you want to see. Because sometimes you kind of do get pigeonholed into just like whatever package is offered.
Yeah.
And what happens is people as I'm sure when you went there, they buy the tourist ticket, which is what it's called, which has like 10 different sites on there. It's like a 50 bucks or something like that. And it gets you entrance into these like 10 sites that are like the 10 most easily accessible sites kind of in the valley of Cusco, or sorry, in Cusco and the Sacred Valley. But the problem is those sites that they have on that list are quite frequently, while very impressive, not the coolest stuff by any stretch of the imagination that's there in the Cusco Valley and the Sacred Valley that you have access to. It's just those are the ones that the Ministry of Culture has maintained and can charge tickets
And
to.
could yeah, it's where they've set stuff up, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some stuff that I mean, like I, I ended up would go do like those day tours. I stayed in
Yeah,
Cusco, and I would end up just like going on some of those day tours just because I needed
those are
a bus
great.
ride to get somewhere.
Yeah,
And like they would be so cheap, they'd be like 50 to $90 to go to this thing or whatever. But then you
yeah.
still had to deal with like the stupid tour guides like trying to rein you back in all the time or whatever. The car thing was too expensive for me to figure out, so it was like, I mean, when we had a couple more people, we rented out a car, but
Hmm.
I took a partial tour group down there last October, and then we rented
Oh,
a
how fun.
van and did all that. But when it was just me and Joaquin, we did our honeymoon there, and we basically did yeah, like we would do local buses and all that stuff and we'd be like walking in fields, or we did a lot of Ubers. Like that was kind of
Yeah,
cheap too. But there was places that like because I didn't have my own car figured out, like I didn't do like what's that one? Killing or Killa,
yeah, Rumiak.
yeah. And I didn't get to do I mean there was a lot of them that I didn't get to do, but I mean I did a
Yeah,
lot, but I mean some of the coolest stuff though was just like I love the area next to Sacsayhuamán when you're like Kinku, that whole like, Temple of the Moon, like the Temple of
yeah,
the Monkey, and then like you go back behind the Temple of the Moon, and then there's that whole valley that's just like
yeah.
crazy wakas, or do you call them? I call them what the fuck boulders, but I think they're technically called wakas or Haucas. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's like manipulated stones where it'll look like just a bedrock boulder and it'll have like weird
Mhm.
little cuts all out of it. I think there's a technical name for those.
Yeah, I can't remember the Quechua word. I'm just stuck up on Huatana, which is hitching post, and that's the Inti Huatana, which is the hitching post of those places, the hitching post of the sun. So I'm stuck up on that word right now, but I know what you're talking about. But that's not, yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, it's like there's so much stuff that's just like you'll be driving along and you'll just look up on a terrace and be like, who farms
yeah,
up there? Why is there terraces that like
yeah.
that
It's
high up?
crazy. Yeah, you're at 11,000 elevation, or like you'll drop down to 10,000 as you're driving. So when you look up on the hill and you're like,
That
somebody has a house all the way up there, and there's like
nowhere.
plowed fields, not plowed because they don't have like hand plowed fields up there or plowed with like an ox or something. All halfway up on the side of the mountain, you're like at 12,000, 13,000 feet, like nowhere close to a road. Like, what are you people
Yeah,
doing?
no, the whole thing is makes me go like,
Yeah,
did flying beings create this thing's like I feel like it's a
yeah.
dragon city. I was like, this is
It's
all
so
built by
cool.
dragons. That's who built
Yeah,
all everything and that's who lived here. So or something that could fly. Like,
yeah. The first place I lived, it was really, really neat. Because when I go there, I tried to rent out like a bigger house so that I can have, friends and family come stay with me. So the first time I went there, I stayed in like the very far opposite side of town. So familiar with Cusco, where Plaza de Armas is, down there with the center by Sacsayhuamán and the large temples, the Catholic temples or churches, I should
yeah,
say,
yeah.
Corticancha. So I was like all the way down past the airport, and then a little bit further, almost where you're like getting towards exiting
Oh,
the city
okay.
in a neighborhood, I guess you call it, a barrio called La Rapa. But the house that I had was this custom home that this woman had built, and then in her lobby, or like the atrium of her house, or I guess the garden area because it was walled off, she had temple stones from that were megalithic temple stones. Some of them were like 3 feet high, and they were these rectangular blocks with these circular depressions in the top for like reflecting and viewing stuff.
All
But like
right.
literally just in her garden, this woman had these megalithic blocks that were just scattered about that she had just purchased at one point in time. And I was like, oh my goodness.
You're
As
like, I'm the
soon as
right.
I move back here, as soon as I move down to Cusco and I start building my place, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to this woman and say, I need to buy all of those stones.
Yeah, exactly. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
that's the
mean,
thing is they're everywhere down there
that's the
and the
thing is like there's
archaeological
a
sites
ton
are
of places
everywhere.
that you go into and their gardens have all these stones that are misplaced in Cusco. I mean,
Yeah.
it's sad because you're like, where did this come from? What did you do? Like, and I don't know that they purchased them and who you purchasing them from, right? Like,
Hmm.
yeah. But
So what were some of the favorite things that you saw when you were down there? I always love asking people. I mean, other than Sacsayhuamán, of course.
yeah, I mean, I really liked uh I think my favorite really is Ollantaytambo. And like did you end up going to the thing across from Ollantaytambo? Like I could never get up to that.
The
It's
original quarry site where they got the Sun Temple stones.
no, it's like that's like on the back side of it. This is
Oh, are
like
you talking about the grain at Ollantaytambo? They have like the grain storage area on the opposite side of the hill, and then like the face with the crown on it.
yeah, did you end up going up to that? I never did.
Yeah, yeah, I've been up there. That was cool.
That's interesting. That would be cool to see. Yeah, I really like I mean I think I like Pisac and Ollantaytambo, but I mean like I did Teum I don't know. I've done most of them. I was looking at your list. I did a lot of them, but there's the ones that I still haven't seen is like I want to go to Lake Titicaca. I've never done that.
Yeah,
And I want to see like the big like the one I talked about like Kilamaru or
Kiarumiak, yeah,
yeah, I
the
want to see that
moonstone.
one. I want to see the one that is like the newer Machu Picchu Wara something. I
Hmm.
haven't seen that. I've not done Bolivia, so I haven't done you know
Iwanaku.
Imanaku, no, or Pumapunku.
Yeah,
I've done that. So those things I really didn't need to do. I knew Amara Muru. I want to do that. Um,
yeah.
so I did everything on the 10 list, right? And then I did
Hmm.
anything that I could see that was on a tourist guide
Oh,
uh
that's awesome.
book and stuff. But there's still okay, one of my favorite things is was I went to I don't even know what it's called, but it's like on the road as you're going up to Sacsayhuamán and you pull off and there's just a little tiny wall and then you
Yeah,
go up in it and then you go into like the cave and it's got like this really cool like vitrified glass like surface and stuff. I think there's
yeah,
weird inner earth entrances in up there in those hills. Like I mean obviously there is that they've literally found that there's tunnel systems that go from the Coricancha all the way up to Sacsayhuamán. But yeah, I think there's stuff around the city that is just like up in the hill area that's really really crazy.
yeah. So they're currently doing excavations at Sacsayhuamán for some of the what are called chincanas, the caves and the tunnels under there. Are you familiar with that at all?
Yeah, I loved Zona X. I explored Zona X a lot. I saw a gargoyle in Zona X.
Hmm.
Like I went in to like I was like going into like some of the caves of Zona X like outside of Sacsayhuamán and I just I ran into this little black being in the corner and it was like wings on it. So it looked kind of like a black gargoyle. I don't know what if you maybe it was a vampire, maybe
Interesting.
it was like a demon, maybe it was a I don't know what it was, but it was like covering itself up with like these black like bat-like wings, but it was I wouldn't say it was big. It was probably only like 2 to 3 feet. I mean, I don't know. It was like in a little thing and it said, get out. And I was like, oh,
Mm,
okay. But it said it to me in my head. And I was like, shit. Okay. And then so like we ran out and I was like super freaked out by that thing that I saw inside there. So a lot of people
yeah,
say that they see some dark stuff in that area.
yeah. Lanlakuyak and Zona Ekis, that place is super, super neat. But no, what I was telling you is they're actually doing like the Ministry of Culture is doing excavations at Sacsayhuamán right now where they're digging out the tunnels underneath them. Are you
Yeah,
familiar with that?
I am. I have
Yeah.
there's one of the archaeologists I've been tried to get an interview with, but I don't know
Yeah.
what his English is going to be. But
Follow my friend Matt. I'm going to do a shout out to Matt at his X handle is Weird Old World. He's got
yeah,
some of the best
he
footage
took me
there.
around that area. I met him in person
Yeah.
when I was in
Yeah.
Cusco. He's really cool. Yeah. Um, yeah. Weird old world, right?
Yep. And
That's
he's currently posting stuff on there. That's why I'm like, man, I need to get back down to Peru so I can get down there and get
so do
into
you
that.
just go back down there when somebody books a tour, or are you planning on longer spurts to go?
No, I have the opportunity that my main job, my day job is I work remote. And so I have the opportunity to live wherever I want. So what I do is I've taken the opportunity to go and live in Peru for 5 months and just live and work from there. And then, while I'm down there, I'll run any tours. If anybody wants to book a tour in the times, which has happened once when I've been back, I'll just, go down there for the tour and maybe stay, maybe not. who knows? But so currently I'm like looking and planning to try to find my next place to go and live and explore. So Cusco is always on the list because we're, building some stuff there here in the next couple of years. But some other places, maybe Argentina, Bariloche. Who knows? I
Mexico.
went to Brazil for 5 months. I like Mexico. Mexico's cool. Maybe Mexico, maybe
Yeah.
Colombia. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I've done Mexico, I've done Colombia, I've done Guatemala, I've done
Oh,
Belize.
wonderful.
Belize is really nice because they speak English.
Yeah, yeah, that's why, I want to go to Belize. I want to go where they speak the native tongues.
They speak Quechua and English there. But I mean, Belize has some really cool ruins.
Ruins, yeah.
Yeah.
Belize has got some crazy ruins that are very, very easily accessible, and that's what's great about it. It's like you just go there and you see these phenomenal, phenomenal structures, and then you head back to the beach.
Yep,
It's
Lolita.
nice.
Their beach doesn't have a lot of sand though, or at least
Oh, does it? I haven't actually been to Belize, so I don't know personally,
yeah,
but
it's more like a scuba diving kind of place. They
mm,
got a lot of reefs. They don't have a lot of like sand beaches, so it's yeah, anyway. But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out though. I mean, I don't know. I think that you're gonna so you can speak Spanish.
yeah, I do speak Spanish mostly.
Okay,
Passively, I'll say
how
Spanish passively, but if you try to talk to me, I probably sound like I'm, a handicapped 14-year-old that is just learning. So
okay, but if you
that's all
get
right.
by with it, so it's a good to take
Yeah.
you on a to have you as a tour guide to kind of go with that. And
Yeah.
also
No,
you're
I speak enough. I speak good Spanish. I'm just being sarcastic, but I do speak enough Spanish to get by.
cool. And then what about okay, so you have a YouTube channel, but I noticed you only have like 3 videos on there. So are you planning to grow that out or what's your plan with that?
Yeah, there's been the YouTube channel's there, and we're gonna get a lot more videos and a lot more content going soon.
So it's
Uh
Megalithic Mysteries.
Megalithic Mystery.
Great.
And then yeah, I've started a different project that I think I've shouted you out on a few times, which is called the Breaking Ancient News, which is also on YouTube. And we've just expanded that one, and I've brought on some new co-hosts. So that's going to be like a news show that's starting, or I guess I've started it, but it's going to be, starting new with our new co-host. And that one's super great and a super fun concept. What we're going to do is about every 2 weeks, we're going to do what we call breaking ancient news. We're going to pull up some clips and some articles and discussion points or, interpersonal drama, anything relating to the ancient history discovery community. Pull
Yeah.
the clips, do some news about it, and talk about it, have discussion. And we're just kind of keeping everybody up to date on some of the things that are happening. Because I feel
Somebody
like
has needed to do that for a long time. That.
there is so much content out there, and so many creators are doing such good things. Like, I don't have time to stay up on it all, and I know nobody has time to stay up on it all. So we're
Yeah.
trying to hoping that this is like, hey, this is going to give you a good general overview, some good recommendations, some talking points from stuff, and give some people some good directions to go. So don't worry, we're going to feature as we already have lots of your stuff on there, Nikki, as well, because you produce some great content and have some great interviews. So
Thanks.
be on the lookout for that one. That's Breaking Ancient News on YouTube as
Breaking
well. We've got a
ancient
few
news.
videos.
Okay, and then on YouTube on Twitter, that's where I found you on Twitter.
Yeah.
And you post some really cool, I like you post some really cool posts on Twitter.
Thank
And
you.
yours is your name, Aaron Hynes with a Y.
Yeah.
And it's like at Megalithic Mystery, right?
Yeah, just like at Megalithic Mystery, if you were to spell it out, it stops after the Myste, missing the RY, because Twitter, or I
Uh-huh.
guess X doesn't let me have all that. But yeah, find me on there. That's where I posted most of my stuff, because most of my stuff has been just kind of some breakdowns of the and my footage of me exploring these sites on the Andes. So, I mean, what I did down when I was living down in Peru, I was literally just go on Google Maps, or the Ministry of Culture has this database of archaeological sites in Peru. And so I'd just find it on a map, head on my motorcycle on my day off work, and just head out there and see what I could film and see what I could find. And I found
Have
some really
you
incredible stuff. Go ahead.
have you ever hooked up with Raul of Pillars of the Past?
Yes, but not while I was in Peru. Him and I were in Peru at the same time, but we weren't talking to each other then.
Okay, yeah, I just met him at the Cosmic Summit. We were on a panel together and I
Oh,
had
that's great.
interviewed him before that and he's great. And I think like I mean, it would be really cool to see the two of you teaming up on some of the because that's basically what he does. He goes to Peru and finds like these little known archaeology sites or Google Earth finds them and then goes and
Yeah.
verifies whether they're there or not, and has found some really cool stuff.
Yeah, I've done some of that as well. He's got a lot more of experience doing that under his belt than I do. So yeah, definitely give him a follow because he's got some great stuff. Pillars of the Past. Yeah, him and I should do that together.
Yeah, I
That would
think
be awesome.
you guys are on a really similar kind of vibe.
Yeah,
You guys should meet in person. I think you guys would like each
yeah.
other.
We'll have to see if he rides a motorcycle. That'll be the thing.
Yeah. Well, I think he
That's the best
maybe.
way. I'm telling you, that's the best way to get around down there. It's cheap, it's fast. Like I love it. But also, to be perfectly fair, I am an adrenaline addict or junkie, or guess what you call it. So for a lot of people, the thrill of the riding motorcycle in a third world country is not the same thrill that I get. So, it's
Yeah,
not for everybody.
that's not for
I
me.
get
I did
that.
it in India, and I was like, oh, screw this. Like, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
India would be wild.
Well, that's like the
When
only
were
way
you
to
in
get
India?
around in India when you do that. So, what'd you say?
When were you in India?
I was in India in 2018. I stayed a month there and I went to like
Hey,
Mahabalipuram, South. But I'm actually likely going back to India again to do some more temple searching and stuff in this year, like maybe in December. So
awesome. India is amazing, and I can't wait to get there. I'm impressed. You've been like everywhere. That's
I've
great.
been a lot of, well, I'm a flight attendant
Oh,
and
there you go.
I get flights for like nothing, so it's
Yeah,
yeah. So that expense is pretty good. I mean, like I think it'll cost me $150 for the taxes no matter where I go in the world. So I just like kind of fly
sure.
standby somewhere. And then I kind of like bulk some time off and then I do like when I get the calling and I have to go, I go. So it's not like, it's you can find workaways how to get anywhere, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got so many family and friends that tell me they're like so envious that I get to go and do these things. And I'm like, look, just make
Do it.
different decisions in your life so that you can do it. Like you can do it right now. You can change your career path, you can change your skill set, and you can literally do what you want to do. Like just have
Yeah,
the
it's
motivation and
so
do it.
I think it's like people, if they want to, they will, right? Because the thing is,
Yeah.
I have a friend who is a single mom and she just takes her son with her. He's
Yeah.
like, she started taking him with her when he was like 2. Like, she's one of the ones I went to Peru with the first time. That kid's been everywhere. Like, that
Yeah,
kid
it's
is
great.
like, I think he's like 14 now, but he's
Yeah.
been all over the world and better for it, honestly. Like, a real
Yeah.
adjusted, smart kid. It's like, and it's really weird because it doesn't matter. Like I was in Costa Rica with him when he was like 7 or something, and he just eats whatever we're eating at a restaurant. It's not
Yeah.
like I mean, like he just the thing is like people have all these different excuses on why they don't do these different things, and it's like, well, I mean, if you aren't going to traveling the world, it's because you really don't want to in a way too. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, there's other circumstances like, it's kind of fine to say when you're in a Western country or whatever you have our currency versus if you made wages in Peru, it'd be hard to get
For
around
sure.
places in the world. But if you are I don't know, if you are in a like a Western, I don't know, I don't even know what the diplomatic thing to say. If you're living in a country that has like a high currency, you can go places and have a pretty cool time.
Yeah.
I think people are scared of the boundaries that the governments have been put in place with like all the different regulations. They're scared of stories they hear about safety. They're scared of language difference, but their phone literally translates everything.
Yeah, you can get anywhere and do anything with Google Translate. It's like it's in real time now, and they've got 4G internet down there everywhere because they've got at least they just throw a cell phone tower up on the highest mountain peak. So it's like, yeah, the barrier to to entry for being able to do this, where in terms of like what skills you need to have, what mindset you need to have, is like it's getting lower and lower and lower each year.
Yeah,
Like
oh yeah.
Airbnb, you go on Airbnb, you download a phone, you download Airbnb on your phone, you download Rappi on your phone, which is the food app. It's like DoorDash. You go down there like you're doing pretty good. You're doing okay. You got Google Translate, you get your food delivered, you know,
Your credit card works everywhere. It's like
credit card works.
and then you can
Yeah,
I always just take out no matter where I go. I take out a bunch of cash
yeah,
from like the airport. When I get there, I don't go to those little booth things. I just go to an ATM, take it out. It gives me the best rate and like keep that around for, and spend a lot with cash there. And then, yeah, put a lot of whatever else I can put on my card, put on my card and just
yeah,
like like it just is fun to have new experiences.
Absolutely. But for the people that are nervous about traveling and don't want to go have these crazy life experiences like you and I have had, sign up definitely for, not that I'm going to plug myself or anything, definitely sign up and hit me up about a megalithic mystery tour because I'll make it the best tour that you could ever imagine in whatever way you want.
Well, that's the thing is
Make it
like
as safe as possible too.
it's one thing to say, I mean, like I backpacked Europe when I was 23, like alone for 6 months. So
Yeah.
like
Oh,
that's
wow.
kind of like
That's
where I
impressive.
ended up getting my bravery from because it was like, I just like threw myself into the woods and then that's how I just was like, yeah, okay, whatever, this is easy. But I think if people haven't actually broken that barrier, then it's harder for them. And then if that's the case, like, and even I do tours, like I go on them myself, like. I
Mhm.
went with Cliff Dunning and Muhammad Ibrahim to Egypt. I
Oh,
did a
amazing.
tour to Peru. I did a tour to Costa Rica. I did a tour to Guatemala. Like I went on them as a person,
Mhm.
and then those are great. You meet people. You can meet friends. Like you're not alone. So I think tours are definitely the way to go if you're scared to do it alone.
Yeah, 100%. Or if you just want to have something that's
Um,
so it's actually a great opportunity to talk about this. I've actually got since while I'm here in the United States and I'm living pretty close, I'm actually putting together a Montana Megaliths tour package. It'll
nice.
just be like a 3-day tour thing that you can meet in either Boise or in Helena or in any of those cities over there. And I'll show up and take you around and
You
we
gonna
can
go
see
to
all those.
Singing Rocks?
Yeah, I was actually just there recently and I think man, I went like way back deep into the Ringing Rocks, just try to find see what I could find. And I believe that I found what appears to be evidence of drill marks at Ringing Rocks and machine cuts into the stones at Ringing Rocks. And it's like way back deep over this hill and kind of up on the other side where most people don't go. So that's over on my X page, and we can link that here. But yeah, Ringing Rocks is really incredible. There's tons of stuff over there that's all right within like an hour and a half, kind of 2 hours of
Right.
everything. And that's what really
Well,
makes me wonder because it's like
when are
if it
you
was
doing
just a
that tour?
sage
Because
wall.
maybe if I'm around, maybe we'll come to it. When is it?
Well, I haven't decided whether I'm going to do just like individual tours or a group tour. The problem is the season to do this is running down pretty quick.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like trying to plan like, hey, a group tour for like mid-September and trying to fill spots is difficult. So I may just like do it like my Peru tours of be like, hey, I have this tour package available. It's a 3-day thing. We meet in Boise, and then if anybody wants to sign up, we can do it
So
that
how
way.
far is it from Boise to get to Bozeman to go do
It's
that?
not too far. I do it. It's about a 10-hour drive from where I'm at, so not too far. And I've got a good friend that lives up there in Helena, so it's a good visit. Go see some friends.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I think there's definitely multiple markets you can get into, right? Like you can when you're home in Idaho,
yeah,
you can do like the megalithic stuff, and then when you're in Peru or wherever you're else you're at, you can do those as well. So that's a really cool.
absolutely.
You need to put all that stuff on your website. Hopefully,
Yeah, I'll get that going. Nick, you've inspired me, and getting the ball rolling on that since you want to go visit. And
I do. I want to go visit those
yeah,
places. I was meant to go in May, and then I got injured on the plane, so I didn't
oh,
get.
bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
And
but
even in Idaho, I found I made a really cool discovery
yes,
pretty
your latest
recently here.
post. That's really interesting. Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's a very cool story. So there is what's called Celebration Park, which is I mean I'm in close to Boise, and it's very close to Boise. So kind of like the thing that you discovered over there, 30 45 minutes from where you're at. And I went there with a youth group a few years ago, and they have these petroglyphs that are carved into these rocks. And you see sheep, and you see spirals, and you see design, you see humans, you see some things that look like aliens, all sorts of the normal petroglyphs. But then I saw this one that was like a star, but I've got a pretty good sense of direction, and so I know where north was. And so I felt like one of the directions it was pointing on the star was pointing due north. So the first thing I did is I pulled up my phone and I put it down there and I compared, and it has, that one line on there was pointing directly north. Then I had these other two intersecting or bisecting lines coming off of it. And I was there in the middle of July, but my first instinct was because I had just come back from Peru, and in Peru, everything revolves around the solstice and the sun. And they have all of their sacred sites, they have what's called the Inti Huatana, the hitching post of the sun. Because in Peru, in Cusco specifically, because it's so close to the equator, you don't have the same procession of seasons like we do here in the north. So there's no fall and there's no winter and there's no cold season. Down there just is really it's just the rainy season and the dry season. And the again, because you're close to the equator, it goes from a only from a 12-hour day to a 13-hour day at the max. So there's really no way to tell the progression of the year unless you're tracking where the sun rises on where the sun rises. So the Inca had the Intihuatana, where they would mark the shadow of where the sun rose, or use the rising sun to mark and indicate where the sun rose. They could track the procession of the seasons for growing crops. So that's a long way of saying I was just recently back from Peru and heavily involved in thinking about all of this stuff when I saw this petroglyph. And so I had these other two intersecting lines come off of it. But I'm in the middle of July, and so my first thought was this is marking the solstice, the solstices, these different lines. This marks the where the sun rises, this marks the sun sets on the summer solstice and the December solstice. So that was my theory. Unfortunately, uh, I was not going to be around that December or the following June.
Mhm.
So I had to wait 2 years until this most recent June, until I was back here. And I finally got out there and I took this great video and I put this stick that was like in one of the grooves of this petroglyph that was pointing towards where the sun, or, towards the sun, the horizon. That's the word I'm looking for. And sure enough, the sun rose exactly where the petroglyph pointed it would rise. And the other side, I went back there that night. I was a little bit late, so I wasn't able to get the exact video of it, but the other position pointed to exactly where the sun set. So we have this solar carved petroglyph that's
That's
in the
cool.
Snake River Valley that, the only people that we know of lived there were indigenous tribes of the Blackfoot. Oh, I'm gonna butcher this. There's the Blackfoot tribe was the main one that was there in the area, and there was one other tribe, but these are Native American tribes. They're not sophisticated. They're not building things. They were, nomadic tribes following the buffalo and following the different animals. They weren't staying in one area as far as we know, so it seems unlikely that the Blackfoot tribe, or the tribes that were living in this area, as far as we know, would have constructed this uh, petroglyph. Because it's like, what's the point of tracking the solstice when you are nomadic? You're not in the same area. You're not there staying there farming. You're not staying there raising
Right.
crops.
You're just passing through.
Yeah. So it makes me think that maybe they didn't do it, but again, I have nothing to base that on other than my own opinion. So, but that was something that I found, and that's something I have submitted to the Idaho's Historical Society. So hopefully they will like actually put that and publish that and like give me recognition
Yeah, maybe I'll be
eventually
like
that,
Aaron's mark. Ooh,
yeah, the Star of Aaron, that's what we'll call
right.
that.
That'd be cool. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I saw that on your Twitter and I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, man.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I was
like
super
that's
excited about that because I made that discovery. Nobody else did.
hey,
It
and
is,
and that's the thing is like the more people get out there and go see stuff, like not everything's been discovered. Like there is stuff still.
yeah. You're absolutely right. And even here in the Americas, like there is so
Right.
much stuff and so much mystery. The sage wall drives me crazy. Oh man, every time I think about that, it just drives me crazy.
Well, I
Like, what
mean,
is that doing
I
there?
feel like we're at the epicenter. I mean, look at all the mounds, look at all the like some of the earthworks and stuff. Like those are
Yeah,
weird. Those are really weird. Like Cahokia and stuff. Like I just feel like we could be at like the epicenter of whatever was the big reset or the disaster or if there was,
yeah,
and maybe that's why there's less structures than there are anywhere else. I don't know.
yeah.
But
Well, fingers crossed for the audit of the Smithsonian to
yeah.
be transparent, I guess is the best way I could put that.
I
Let's
have
hope that
my
there's some
doubts on that.
transparency.
Not holding my breath on it being like amazing, like Indiana Jones, Temple of the Ark kind of stuff coming out. But
Yeah, open up the
yeah,
warehouse. Let
right.
us get in there. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. I think the biggest thing that I saw from the Smithsonian when they said they were going to audit, like the number one thing was where are the giants?
Yeah.
Where are the giant skeletons? That was like the big thing of like, okay, they're going to open up the Smithsonian, go get the giants, bring them out. We want to see them. I'm like, okay,
And it's so funny because it's like I mean, Like I had a Dene, which is Navajo. It's word that's what they call themselves though. A Navajo woman like in her like 70s tell me that, oh yeah, we had some like giants in this Egyptian cave and your Smithsonian came when I was like 14 and
Mm,
took them away. We used to go revere them, or we used to go like pray to them, or not pray to them, but like give them like it was almost like a little altar that they had in some kind
yeah,
of way to these giants. And she said, yeah, she says she remembers that people from Smithsonian came and took them away like in the 50s.
interesting. And they say the other rumor about those giants is they're all
Oh,
redheads,
like you. There you
allegedly.
go. Or like
Yeah, I mean,
the block caves and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, exactly. And I'm no giant, but I am 6'4", so maybe I've got some of that
Oh,
DNA in
hey,
me.
maybe you are. Maybe you're related to some of that bloodline there. There you go.
I'm certainly as dumb as a caveman, so that wouldn't be surprising.
Right, right, right. Well, hey, this has been fun, man. Let's,
Yeah, it's been a wonderful conversation.
yeah, it is. I will have to do it again because this is you're very easy to talk to, and I'm actually gonna really hit you up about this age wall kind of tour thing because that would be cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll put something together and I'll have it together in a few days for you specifically, because
Sweet.
we need to get more people out there and because I need to, and because sometimes I procrastinate these things,
I
just
know.
procrastinate as we all do sometimes.
Okay, so I'm gonna like just say like a little sign off and then don't get off yet. I'll just stop it and then I'll still like ask you a couple little questions and talk to you about like logistics of this thing. Okay, so all right, so is there anything else that we didn't cover or that you have going on that you wanted to say before?
I think that's everything. We've been pretty thorough. We just appreciate you having me on. Love talking to you and I love all the work that you do. So keep continuing all the awesome stuff that you produce
Thank
because
you.
we love it. We need it.
Likewise. And we will have to have you on again sometime. So thank you, Aaron. And again, people can find you. Tell them where they can find you.
Yep. Find me on Twitter or X at Megalithic Mystery. Find me on YouTube at Megalithic Mystery and Breaking Ancient News.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Bye.